So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Thank you for staying with us. From forests and villages, bandits are gradually taking their attacks to cities. On Tuesday, bandits struck in Sokoto state capital, killing an official of the Nigerian Civil Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC. Meanwhile, the Katsina State House of Assembly has told Governor Aminu Bello Masari that shutting down of telecommunications network is worsening the security situation in the states. The lawmaker says bandits now attack communities in broad daylight due to absence of network. Hence, they want the shutdown to end. Now, without shutting down of this telecommunication helped at the initial stage, as in to claim their ransom, to get the locations where military guys want to raid, intend to raid and everything. But right now, it's now becoming, some people claim it's now becoming a kind of painful exercise.
You know, actually, initially, when we discussed this thing, I did mention that this can only be a short-term solution. Because shutting down telecommunication on its own has its own adverse effects, even on the people. You get it? Because even if it works, there is no guarantee also that the bandits are not going to seek another way of circumventing the government's action, which they have done now. Because I learned they have they've relocated, they are using telecommunication facilities in neighboring countries to facilitate whatever activity they are undergoing, which means that shutting down that telecommunication, you can't shut down telecommunication in the entire world. You are limited, you can only do it in your state. And because
maybe the next
they understand
in another,
they understand that they can always another, you get it, telecommunication mast in another country can even have signals near wherever they are staying.
Yes, there was a time I went to the Republic of Benin, I bought their MTN, and I was still receiving
your calls.
Yes, on their MTN down to even Nigeria, down to Oshodi. Yes.
So you can now imagine how ineffective that could be. Apparently, it worked initially in that they were able to, you know, locate some people that were kidnapped. But I think as of the time we did that, we ought to have been working on other methods of combating these bandits, rather than just staying on a particular measure. Because from what we can see now, we can see that the bandits are probably ahead of our security operatives in their own response to whatever efforts the government is putting in place. You think you are shutting down telecommunications, but they have gone ahead to use telecommunication facilities in other neighboring countries to go ahead with their activities. So, besides, people are suffering. People in distress can't even call for help because they also rely on these same telecommunication devices. So it's like, it's not easy. But apparently with the level of killings that have been taking place now, we can see that this method hasn't worked, because before the NDDC official was killed, I think September 28th, about 16 people were killed in the same Sokoto, including policemen, including soldiers, including NSDCC officials too. So it means that whatever it is not working. It is not working, and we just have to do something else. We have to look for solution, and we have to do that fast enough, because apparently these killings can't continue.
Lekon, when you look at Sokoto now gradually becoming a kind of hotbed for this bandits and terrorist attack, because Sokoto has not been in the mix before now, So all of a sudden, we know Zamfara, regular customer, Kaduna, Niger, Katsina. But all of a sudden now, the level of attack, the level of killings in Sokoto State is now becoming almost unbearable.
Well, cancer spreads gradually. And I think that is what we are dealing with right now. To add a little to what BC had just said, one, we have a Minister of Communication and Digital Economy. And it's a strategic security appointment. Such that, and this is somebody who is trained in cyber security things, who should be able to give more serious, counsel to our defense team. One, two. The first time I saw Turaya in my life was in Sokoto Airport.
That's the satellite phone?
Yes, sir. At that time, before GSM.
Oh, before 2001.
So that tells you how sophisticated some people are in that area. And then three, there's roaming of phones. I recall one day I was in Lagos, took a flight to Heathrow Airport. At that time, I didn't even know that my phone had been automatically roamed.
It will.
As soon as the plane touched ground at Heathrow, a text message came in.
Yes, welcome to.
I didn't ask anybody to tell me. I didn't ask anybody to roam my phone. It has been roamed automatically.
I think they have like a kind of pacts with some telecoms.
So because they conclude on your behalf, and you don't know. So wherever you find yourself.
Yes.
Then, 4. Osama bin Laden. And wait, before I go there, when you take a Uber and you call and you book a ride, from your phone, you will be seeing the movement, I think, of the vehicle.
The vehicle, yes.
And when he picks you up, they will even tell you 10 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and so
to the destination.
And then when he picks you, as you are going towards your destination, you will be seeing as you are moving. Then number 5, when Osama bin Laden was going to be taken out, it was a phone call that El-Baghdadi, the head of his security team in his house, went to make like you are living in Lagos now, you went to Mowe to go and make a call. And usually when they make a call, they cut the SIM card and throw it away, or even burn it, so there will be no trace. But luckily for them, the government of Pakistan, or the telephone service providers, had given some of these numbers to the security outfit. So America knew. So as soon as El-Baghdadi made a phone call from one of the phones, immediately America heard, and they picked him, and their satellite beamed on him straight to where he was living, and that was how eventually they picked up. But what am I driving at is that I am shocked that the whole federal government of Nigeria came with the idea of shutting down telecommunications, something that should even be used to trace these people. But somebody has told me that this government is probably not serious about taking out these bandits and the rest of them. Because the device on their hand, you recall that bin Laden will not use telephone.
He wasn't using telephone.
Anything, it was offline completely.
It wasn't on internet.
Because he knew he's an engineer, and because he knew that they can trace him. So what are we talking about? I just think we're not serious about fighting this banditry and insurgency and the rest of them. That's what I think.
Because what the telecommunication network is worsening the security situation. What they're complaining now, that the lawmaker says bandits now attack communities
during
broad
the day,
daylight,
because the people cannot call
due to absence of network.
So
nobody will be able to.
Yeah, because you can't even. When the telecommunication was working, they could at least call and say that probably security operatives didn't arrive on time or whatever. But they could still call, and they could be lucky to get help. But as it is now, they are helpless. Yeah. They can't even call anybody. You see, this is a retrogressive way of solving problems. Exactly. That is the truth. Is the truth. Okay, why do we register mobile numbers? Why? Why do we register mobile numbers? That's the point.
With our photographs.
With our photographs and your everything.
And our street address.
Everything. Why do we do that? It's to be able to track people that are committing.
What's the essence of the NIM?
What is the essence? Now, if truly our mobile lines are truly registered,
good question.
As government made us to believe, then it shouldn't be this difficult to track these people. That's right. It's obvious that something is wrong somewhere. It is either we are deceiving ourselves by telling ourselves that we register our numbers, or we know the people we are trying to close our eyes. Because I don't think it should be this difficult. In fact, we should be using technology to fight crime. We should even be using more of technology to fight crime than guns. But as it appears to me that we prefer to put our soldiers, our security operatives on the line, even in places where we could have made use of technology, which I think we need to improve upon. That is what is happening. It's the same thing with corruption. When you apply technology in fighting corruption, you reduce it, you curb it. Exactly. But when you prefer to do it physically, it will continue to spread. Exactly. So I think we should be talking about use of more technology in solving our problems. We have gotten to that point.
Because we can say it's all cases that we have that they use foreign lines or anything. We have some kidnapping that will even happen in the south here, some, middle belts, and they use the conventional GSM to ask, to demand for ransom.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And we've started this.
And then we are acting as if we don't know how to track them. Listen, just as this is hinting at, we need to deploy personnel that understand this new technology. As far back as in the 70s, I knew that America was employing people with PhDs into their army. PhDs in computer science in their army. PhD in mathematics for precision thinking and planning, so that they understand. I'm sure you probably have heard this, that when a hacker is picked up, rather than
Let's pick this call. Obi is calling us from Abakaliki in Ebonyi State.
Yes.
Thank you for staying with us, Obi.
Yeah. Good evening, my people.
Good evening, Obi.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Please, I want to contribute. I want to say that the problem we are having is that there is no political will. There is no will to do this job. It seems as if that the government, they don't want to do anything about these people. Because you can't tell me that if it is in the southeast, why can't they use that way they use them fighting poor people to fight these people? Is there anything that they are hiding that they don't just...
Thank you, Obi, for your contribution. Obi said, why is it that they can't use the
same way I'm asking
IPOB people
to send 34,000 police officers to Anambra State to police election, and you can't find security men to deal with this issue. You understand? Just as he has said, it appears there's no political will. There's no intention to curb this thing. And some people have said, there's something wrong with groupthink. When we have about 21 or 22 security positions, and about 18 or so of those positions are zoned to a particular section of the country. Now, because they have the same cultural background, because they have the same religious background, because they have the same regional orientation, there will be agreement among themselves. Now, they do not have to be mischievous. That is just the way they are. That is just the you understand what I'm saying? It's just the upbringing. So they naturally will take a position, that, if you just, well, I think I read sometime sometime ago that a southern officer who either, I guess they dismissed him or he left or whatever it is, said that while he and some people from the south were prosecuting the Boko Haram shooting another day, some of the officers were calling them and saying, we are killing our people. So that's another issue that we are dealing with. So the people, Bello Masari, governor of Katsina State, captured this very well. He said the heads of securities agencies, most of them are from the north. People who are being the victims, kidnapped and so on, most of them are from the north. Do you understand? He said, so what are we talking about? Does it look like as if these people do not want to take action to solve this problem? And it's already going around. Last week, I read in the news, I think it was one of these newspapers, that some people were picked up. They were driving in a Danfo bus, three vehicles, 2 of them escaped, with arms and daggers. They were picked up by the Amotekun in Ondo State. 2 of them escaped. Where are they now? Nobody knows. And then those people said they will hand them over to the police. Have they handed them over to the police? What has happened after that? We have not heard anything.
I saw that video. It was quite terrifying.
So it's spreading, like I said, this is cancer that is spreading gradually.
Young men.
I think there is a psychology behind banditry that we also need to attack. You see, there could be a kind of sympathy towards bandits.
Yes.
It's possible that probably the people in government also recognize their failure towards these people, and they think that probably they are also victims of the Nigerian society.
As Sheikh Gumi is arguing,
exactly,
that you should not even call them bandits.
Bandits, exactly.
They are criminals.
Exactly.
Okay. I have Ekene from the city of billionaires, Inewi, Anambra State.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ekene. How is Inewi today?
Fine. Inewi is good. Anambra State is good. Good evening.
Calm now. Okay, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much for your program. I always follow your program every evening. You guys are doing well. I know it's not around today, but they are doing well.
Thank you.
So what I'm saying is, let them use the force that they are using in Anambra State, because we are in Anambra State. We know what we are experiencing in Anambra State, and we are not happy the situation that is going on in the north, because they are our brother too. We are not happy about the situation, so they should put more force. Just like one of your colleagues are saying that it's like we are deceived by the register of NN and the phone, because we all know that in this part of the country, before you will know it, even before you make a call, they will see everything that concerns. I don't know what is happening in the north. So I don't know what is really happening, whether they are deceiving themselves. I don't really know whether those people that are using those networks, are they not registered? They should do something about it.
Thank you, Kene.
Well, I just think that we should treat criminality as criminality. I think that is the basis. Are
you insinuating in any way that government is holding back?
No, if you listen to Sheikh Gumi, and you also look at the activities of even Governor Masari himself in the past, you can see that there is this kind of, not an affinity, but maybe a sympathy.
No, for Governor Masari, I will tell you that, at least we've been following his activity, I will tell you that it is that of passion for peace.
Exactly.
He wants peace. That was why he initiated the amnesty program, and the amnesty program failed, and right now he's frustrated. He's not in any way in bed with this bandits.
No, the point I'm making is that, you know, if you look at the way you want peace, I started by saying that just treat criminals as criminals. Don't negotiate with criminals.
He didn't have the capacity.
Let us even imagine. Let us imagine that bandits are armed robbers. Do you go to bed with armed robbers because you want peace?
For his own case, he's the chief executive officer of the state, security officer of the state.
So I know that even
he had no control.
The best thing he tried, it's not working.
Yes.
He has tried his best, but it's not working, and he doesn't even have control over this situation. And he's not even
enjoying the advantage of that state being the state of Mr. President.
Unfortunately, and that is why people will continue to wonder why this is happening.
Don't you remember the day the president visited the state?
And
that was the day
they still abducted
Friday, the Kangara, what's the name of that?
The Kangara
boys. They picked those little boys, those children. You know, what Masari has done, he has told us, as I said earlier on, the people who are kidnapping people are from the north. The people, in this case, the people who are the victims are from the north. And those who are heading the security outfits, most of them are from the north.
At the national level.
At the national level. That was the understanding. And the Constitution says that when a governor gives a directive to a commissioner of police, Constitution, not just law, Constitution says the commissioner of police should liaise with the president, meaning IG, before he can take any action. So it's a lie when they call governors chief security officers of their states. It's a bloody lie. Whoever is calling them that is just fooling them. The earlier, many of them understand that they are not chief security officers.
They know. All right, we'll take this break. When we come back, we'll discuss more. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. It's Journalist Hangout, and I still have Olabisi Deji Forutile in the studio and Lekon Shote. The submission of reports of the Lagos State Judicial Panel of Inquiry on NSAS is eliciting reactions from various quarters to the United States as it asks the federal government and the Lagos State government to address the alleged abuses that led to the NSAS protests, the events that took place at the Lekki toll gate on the 20th of October 2020, and the grievances of affected families. Lekon, let me start. We saw the reports. The report was submitted, and the Lagos State government actually set up another committee, maybe to drop a white paper, to produce a white paper, but the media released like a snippet into what's was inside of that report, and that reaction since yesterday, before yesterday, it has been making headlines. So the United States now, they're now saying that we should go, the Lagos State government and the federal government must try to right the wrongs of that October 20th of October 2020. That's right.
Well, thank you. I'm even expecting Great Britain. I'm also expecting the EU to also add their voices. I think AI has already spoken. Amnesty International has already spoken. You know, I'm waiting for Britain. I'm waiting so that there will be pressure. So that I have worked in government before. When they say white paper means the recommendations or even the findings of that panel. What does government think of each of the findings? Do you agree or do you not agree? Then the suggestions, those 30-something, 32 suggestions, we will do this, we will not do this, we will do this, we will not do that. It is not for you to rewrite
the report.
Because if you have read that report, unsigned. What I saw is unsigned. I need to say that because somebody was. I say supposing whatever document Justice Okuwobi gave to the governor, it could have been somebody's PhD thesis, maybe BC's PhD thesis. Who knows? Because he didn't read it out to us. But without trying to be mischievous, what I'm trying to say is this: that what I saw was not signed. So we wait for when we see what was signed. That is that. Now, if you go through those things, you will see that there's a strong input from the youths, or if you like, the victims, or if you like, the civil society organizations in those submissions, recommendations. So, a lot of them may not be palatable. You probably have heard the reaction of the Chief of Defense Staff. So that tells you that it is not everybody that seems to be agreeing or like, let me not say agree, but like those findings. Except when they say, you know what, maybe of massacre, that committee says there was a massacre. You know what massacre? That is serious. And then they alluded, they say, well, we can confirm that 11 people died. 4 people are missing, we don't know where they are. There are 96 people that bodies around that time. They are just trying to let you know that those 90-something people need to be accounted for. What killed them? What is the autopsy saying? What is the coroner's report saying about those people? They just don't want to jump to conclusions. That's what I think. And then the recommendations, paying compensation, prosecuting people who went and did beyond instructions given to them. And then those who are arrogant and failed and refused to appear before that panel. That panel is you are supposed to, you don't have a choice whether you will attend or to attend to them or not.
At the point that the military stopped attending. So
are we under a military government that you choose not to make yourself put yourself under the authority of civil authority? Do you understand? So are you going to be cherry picking what laws or rules or regulations that you are going to obey? And I think, though America, well, they have said something, but I thought Britain would have spoken, to Canada should have spoken. I was expecting that Germany would also speak, and then the EU.
It's our internal affairs.
Yeah, it's our internal affairs.
We should be able to manage that thing happened in Nigeria.
Oh, really? Why do we keep shouting to them to give us Tucano aircraft? And we could, since it's internal, let's go and be using bow and arrow to deal with Boko Haram and the rest of them. You need to. Why are we in the United Nations? Why do we belong to Commonwealth? Why do we belong to AU?
States that this is still our internal affairs. It's
I
something
agree
that
with you.
and it could be managed.
I like your.
The Lagos State government set up a kind of an independent panel of inquiry, and they sat for like a year, and the reports from what the feelers have gotten so far, a lot of people will tell you that report from what you can see that it's truly independent of any interference from the Lagos State government.
I think what the US is simply telling us is that it is not enough to have a report.
Okay.
Implementation.
It is the implementation, because it will go a long way.
Recommendations.
Yes, it will go a long way to soothe the nerves of people that are offended or
which
affected.
The Lagos State government started
it is good that the Lagos State government inaugurated a panel. It is also good that from what we can get from the report of the panel, that it is independent.
Completely.
We can say that, because I think even that report is, in a way, Lagos State government too is indicted in a way.
Yes.
Even in that report, you understand. And I also love what the governor said, that at least they are going to make sure that posterity will judge them well. I mean, he is not there. He is not trying to cover up anything, and that is a very good thing. But at the same time too, if we can have all of that, it could be a political gimmick. It could end as a political gimmick. Yeah. Because if it does, we wouldn't have gained anything. All the money spent on the panel, right, all the efforts, all the resources, all the time will have been useless. You see, the people that have died, they are gone. They can't come back again. Exactly. But it is always good to have deterrence so that people will know what cannot be done. Let's get people to let's get people to pay for their crimes. If people pay for their crimes, the possibility of committing that crime in future, you can curb it. Right. And part of the problems we have, just like our laws, it's not as if we don't have law. It's not as if we don't have rule of law in Nigeria, but is it working? So that is the point that the US is making, that, and government is very important in that process. Government is very important because at the end of the day, it is the government that will determine what will be implemented. Exactly. You know, the panel has done its job, but government will still be the ones to decide what to be implemented and how to implement it. So I think we should just do what is right, because that is the only thing that can help us.
Sorry, let me add that the responsibilities in that 32 recommendations, it's not just for Lagos State, including the federal government too. Exactly. And I think that is why the Lagos State governor, for example, doesn't have any power over the security forces, even the police. So he can't even do anything about them. So he can only pay compensation, for example, maybe to victims, families, and the rest. But to punish whoever instructed or whoever killed, it's not within his power.
Exactly. Trying to look at the whole thing immediately after the 2022 Lekki Toll Gate incident, unfortunately. 2020, sorry. Okay, sorry. Immediately it happened, and government took some bold steps by dissolving the Special Anti-Robbery Squad. Replacing it with SARS. So, after the disbandment of SARS,
removing Twitter.
Now, have you seen any positive impact of that move? That's the normal police that we deal with.
Well, I recall that immediately after SARS was disbanded, a lot of police officers were slow, if not deliberately failing to respond to distress calls.
Okay, let's take Ibe from Port Harcourt. Thank you for joining us, Ibe.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Ibe.
I like your program. I have been a regular listener to your program every evening.
Thank you.
I thank the Lagos State government for the report they have turned in. But the fact is, would they approve, or would they go to approve what the report has given? We thank God that the justice did a very good job. Everybody likes what she did, but we thank Lagos State government for being the first to turn in the report. This report was sent to all the state capital, all the states, 36 states of the federation, but Lagos State have turned in their own. What is happening to the others? The impunity is still happening. The impunity of the police is still happening. Have they learned anything? People who have not even studied the report are now making unusual statements, like the chief of defense staff. He has not even read that report.
Thank you, Ibe. Thank you, Ibe. I think some states even did not even set up any panel.
Exactly.
Some states could not even fund the panel for sitting, and some states the panel was set up, we just went into comatose. So I think there are a few states that they've submitted their own reports before now. I think Osun State. I've seen Osun State and some other states. And
most of the states are in the southwest.
In southwest.
Most of the states that support that.
Because I don't think the people in the up north, they didn't complain of the activities of the special interruption.
I recall that Northern Governors Forum said that it was just a southern demand for removal, for disbandment of police, rather than just the SARS. I recall
because
that
I asked you before we took that call that have you seen any change in terms of they've disbanded the special anti-robbery squad. How about the conduct of the main police?
Well, I'm not completely, but let's be factual. Let's be honest that they are a bit more cautious.
Okay.
Yes, but you and I have seen quite a few videos online of police mistreating people,
but not as high as
the frequency. As frequent.
What have you seen so far the last 1 year?
Well, I can't say I've seen much difference, because I still, maybe because if you are young and you have children that are young, you can be sure that they still go through the same kind of harassment from the police all the time. They still ask them, they still stop them. If you have a young guy that is driving, they will still stop them. If they don't have their ID cards on them, it will be a problem. And you know, there are many unemployed youths. So I don't know how many of them have landed in their nets. But I know that they still stop and they still complain even about their hairstyle, their dressing mode, still determine who to stop and all of that. So I think we need more. It's not something that we can achieve overnight. Definitely there will have been some positive impact. It may not be too general.
All right, and finally, it is an unanimity of opinion among Nigerians that the country cannot afford another strike by university lecturers at this time. Hence, 3-week ultimatum issued by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, must not be allowed to lapse. As such, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, has called for a meeting with the leadership of ASU, the Minister of Finance, Zainab Ahmed, and that of Education, Adamu. The legislative intervention is to fast-track release of funds agreed upon in 2020 ASU versus federal government or federal government agreement. Now, Femi Gbajabiamila, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, to the rescue now. Because before now, ASU have been dropping that hints. Dropping that hints. Going, and we discovered that one thing the federal government, they know how to do best. Nobody will talk. So, when they started the full flag strike now, you now see people calling for intervention, and everything. But it's good now that the people involved, the stakeholders, the Minister of Finance, the Minister of Education, and the House of Representatives, and ASU, and the Speaker of the trying to make sure that the ultimatum does not elapse.
You remember the strike of last year, March to December.
Yes,
how many months is that?
March to December.
Almost an academic year.
A
full academic year.
So, now, what worries me is this. 22-point-something billion. The president of ASU says the money is already sitting down in the accounts. So, Igbo people, I lived in the East for some years. They say, what is holding the dog from dying? What is holding that money from being released?
Bottleneck.
There's something called AIE in government, Authority to Incur Expenditure. It goes for, that is how central bank will release money to your account once they receive the AIE from your supervisory ministry or whoever it is. And all this nonsense argument that this allowance is for individuals, it's not for union. I mean, what is the purpose of this semantics? Is it that somebody in government just enjoys unnecessary argument? If the money truly is sitting in your account in the central, issue the AIE, authority to inquire, so that the relevant authorities will transfer the money to all the universities, and then they can disburse these allowances. So, well, anyway, maybe people who maybe they are looking for money to buy
because it's as if
the mosquito nets that they want to buy. Maybe that is what they are looking for.
It's as if the federal government, I don't know, it's as if they enjoy this one day one trouble syndrome. We've just left the resident doctors, as in the resident doctors just finished their protracted, and I really want to think that everybody will want to come together to make sure that this strike is averted.
Don't worry, there is not going to be any strike. The Minister of Labour has assured us that there is not going to be any strike, that the money will be paid before the ultimatum expires.
What's held the money since last year?
Well,
they had made budgetary allocation provisions for that 22%.
So that is the question billion. We should now be asking ourselves. That why should we always wait for unions to either threaten strike or go on strike before government implements an agreement it reaches with unions? That is the question we should be asking ourselves. Yeah. Because if at the end of the day this money is paid within 3 weeks, it means that money is there, but somebody or somewhere just enjoys it. Yeah. When people say we want to go on strike, or they go on strike, and that is why people say it's because their children are not affected.
I guess so.
Because if your child is affected, you will think twice. Because you want the best for your children. That is why somebody like me, if it is possible for me, if I'm in power, I will push for a legislation that once you are in power, and you have children that are going to school, your children should school in Nigeria. Exactly. I know that you have the right to send your children to school anywhere, but if you are a government official, you are in power or whatever, for that, it's either you choose to be in power and send your children to go and school anywhere in the world, or you be in power and let your children school here, you to enjoy the health facilities here, and let us see whether they will not take care of those areas. Or if we continue to leave it that, okay, education, then the children of the poor will be the one going to these schools, and they will continue to spoil the education system.
Okay, I have Saliu. Saliu is calling us from London. Thank you for joining us, Saliu.
Hello.
Yes, Saliu. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Thank you. I want to make some contribution.
Go ahead, please.
This is about the ENSAS report.
Go ahead.
This is about ENSAS report.
Saliu, your life. Go ahead.
This is about the report that came out from the committee of the ENSAS.
So, where do we go from here? Now,
where do we go
she
from here?
has given us that confidence because I am not sharing from our optimism. I don't know why. We've seen this over and over again. This ultimatum will lapse, and these people will go into strike, and it will go on for weeks, months, and you begin to look at it that right now they say it's teaching time. Seems like if there's anything we can do, if the money is available, if it is true, why don't you just remove those bottlenecks?
Just do the thing. And I don't understand. And what also worries me is that it appears Mr. President is aloof. He's not aware. It's as if these things are just happening and he's not aware. I understand he has traveled.
Well, Mr. President has been doing a lot of traveling.
Yes.
Yeah, in the last 1 month, he has been very busy.
And this is where we get into handing over power. Because I imagine that the last how many days he has been out of the country, from Scotland to France to South Africa to everywhere. Whoever is the vice president ought to have been given the authority as acting president, so he can take a decision over this matter. My concern is that these people claim that the money is sitting down there. And I read a report that this 2021 budget, 53% of revenue expected came in, which means money has been coming in apart from the loan, which the president says is used for infrastructure. So, and there is provision, unless it is a lie, that there's a provision for this 20-point-something billion in the 2021 budget. So what is holding this money? Why not just pay it if somebody is not looking for...
Now, if they pay that money, would that forestall the strike?
At least for now, that is
because
what they
that's not the only demand.
That's what I'm saying, that for now, that is what the ASU is holding on to. If they pay the money, they can still continue to negotiate with ASU on other issues.
Okay, I have Godwin from Ikorodu in Lagos.
Not Ikorodu, Ikoyi rather, Ikoyi.
Ikoyi, thank you for joining us, yes. Godwin. Still in Lagos, Ikoyi.
My pleasure, Mr. Ayo. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Like your guest, the lady in the studio.
Olabisi Deji from Italy.
Yes, I have been advocating to that. What needs to be, you see, we must take a drastic step to address Nigeria's problem. If not, talking like this, I have been listening to your program for God knows how many years now. And I have every week, every day, we talk issue like this. Number one, every government official, if you talk of school, their children are not school abroad. If that is done, I'm telling you, everything will fall down in place, everything will come back in place. That's number one. Secondly, even their healthcare, if they are coming to this particular this country to their hospital in Nigeria, they have hospital in Nigeria, I'm telling you, everything they will repair it within 24 hours. They will repair it. So if you continue to like what people are doing, I like it. So if we continue to press on, like what the lady said, if we continue to press them, so that if government push for legislation that everybody, as far as you are in government, as far as you are a government worker, so you must, your child, your work must school in Nigeria.
Thank you, Godwin.
Your hospital must be in Nigeria.
Thank you, Godwin. I don't know how.
But he has a point.
Yes, that's going to be a very difficult legislation, difficult decision to make, and it takes time.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a legislation. It could just be an administrative, like I recall when I joined the federal government, there was one oath that we signed also of that there are some things you are not going to be saying.
Oath of secrecy.
So I don't know if that was in, I can't remember exactly what it, but it's as if they say that information that comes to you, sensitive information that comes to you in line of your assignment, you can't just, So I understand that. And you consciously take that as part of what is your condition of service. You understand? So this could be, look, Mr. X, you are taking this job. Part of the condition of service is that your children must go to school in Nigeria. 2, medical something must be, and we will provide educational facilities for your children. See what happened.
But we don't have them in place.
See the history. If you get to UI, you will hear international school.
Yep.
You will hear the
staff school.
The staff school.
Staff school international.
You know
school.
what happened? When the only way to persuade
we have to go.
professors to come from Britain to come to Nigeria to establish
those schools for the
is to have equivalent of schools for their children.
Health centers,
exactly.
Staff school, international
Thank
school.
You.
They have it in Lagos.
That's the idea. That's how all of them now start saying, and then the federal civil servants too. They establish unity schools throughout the throughout, as they are transferred, their children will go to good school.
Okay.
Let's do the same.
Lekon Shote, thank you so much. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
Olabisi Deji-Folotile, thank you for your contribution today. We couldn't get BKO from the Northeast. I'm sure he's moving from one state to another state in the Northeast. But I'm sure if he's back, we have a lot to talk about. And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. And don't forget to join us on Sunday for Journalist Hangout on Sunday, 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. We're on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozuba. We'll see you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.